Mr. Buffett, I'm Rick Fulton from Omaha, really. Recently I was in Washington, D.C. with my wife on a business trip, and I wanted to tell Mrs. Graham, I know she's here, what a pleasure it is to get up in the morning to a good newspaper like the Washington Post. Also, I have a question about cap cities and now Disney. And is Mr. Murphy keeping busy now that ABC is owned by Disney? Also, every week you read in the paper the Nielsen ratings, and does it matter that ABC now, it seems that less people recently are watching? Does it matter to the Disney's bottom line? Thank you.
Well, the first question about Mr. Murphy is that if we could hire Mr. Murphy, we would. I mean, there is no one in this world that is a better manager than Tom Murphy, or a better human being as far as that's concerned. So I think he's keeping pretty busy. He has been responsible for NYU Hospital. He wouldn't say that, but he's been the chairman of it for some years, and that's an $800 million a year or thereabouts organization. Charlie runs a hospital, so he knows how busy it can keep you. And but I would say this, that I would love to find a business that I could entice Murph to come back and run, because they don't get any better than he is. Charlie, you want to add anything on Murph? Or?
Well, I'd like to, because you're absolutely right.
And what was the other part of the question?
Sir, does the recent decline in ABC's Nielsen ratings have anything to do with the bottom line?
I was
Did you watch
hoping you'd
Forrest Gump
forget.
last night?
Yeah, it makes a difference. Ratings translate in many cases into, but overall, news, if they're good in early morning, if they're good in daytime, if they're good at late evening, whatever. I mean, ratings translate into money. They may not translate immediately. Particularly if you have some big hit show, you may have sold it out too cheap. But over time, the prices you receive for your product relate to ratings, and over time, but over a longer period of time, the price that you pay for the product also relates to the ratings. But there's a difference in the time cycle, so that it makes a difference to any network's bottom line what their ratings level is. And Disney is conscious of that, and they are very able operators, and I predict you'll see in a couple of years. But you can't do it immediately. The schedule fixes don't work on a week-to-week basis, because people have habits, and there's a time lag involved in any change. And you've seen over the last 20 years, you've seen various networks on top or on the bottom from time to time. So it moves around. It moves around a fair amount. Charlie?
Yeah, I think the TV network business is intrinsically a pretty tough business. And ESPN than they might have forecast, and they probably did a little worse on the network. These things happen.
That was incidentally the situation when Cap Cities bought ABC in 1985. We made the deal. I'm thinking it closed. I think it closed the first day or two of '86. I may be wrong on that, but the network diminished. The ratings diminished significantly, and particularly in daytime. We'd always thought daytime was almost a certainty to produce big earnings, and it had. Even prime time is what people pay the most attention to, but daytime slipped significantly after we bought it. It has no relationship to those movies. I mean, that movie you saw earlier when I started appearing on it. Don't want anybody to make that connection, but it did happen to be at the same time. The kicker we got again was ESPN. ESPN was losing money when Cap Cities made the deal to buy ABC, and we never really regarded it as having that big a potential. And it has been huge. It was enormously better for us than we ever anticipated. Leonard Goldenson, who ran ABC, told us it was going to be that good, But, of course, we were too smart to pay any attention to them. And I think Disney has been pleasantly surprised by how well ESPN has done, too. It's a powerhouse. Zone 10, please.